Hello everybody, my name is RagingRaptor and I welcome you to a new tank review, or whatever you want to call it. Because today we are going to have a look at the latest tier 10 heavy tank, the Gryphon, which is coming via the assembly shop. In short, the Gryphon is a concept 1B turret on a very odd chieftain-esque hull with a double shot out reloader. And it is in the assembly shop, meaning that you have to shell out your free XP or other in-game resources. Two things about this real quickly before we get into the tank. First things first, there will be 85,000 tanks on EU and 10,000 on NA. And for the first time ever, all of these tanks will have a numbered style. So technically we could get boobs. Unless Wargaming removed that one. Which would be a pity because boobs would be funny. In any case, it looks like that Wargaming noticed that usually lots of these tanks with the individual 3D style get sold, while the ones without 3D style, they're not really getting sold. Another point is that Wargaming already showed that they are now also reselling these tanks in other off-peak assembly shop events, let's put it that way. So, enough yapping-bapping about this, let's talk about the tank. The tank's gun is a 120mm gun with a 2-shot auto reloader, where the first shot takes around 8.6 seconds to reload, while the second shot takes 20 seconds. The interclip is 2.5 seconds and it has 420 alpha. For the people in between you which are insanely on the spectrum and can calculate everything out in their mind, they will notice that, excuse me, that thing has 2900 DPM. Huh? That is kinda insane, isn't it? And indeed, you are correct. That is a very, very, very strong DPM. Like a Conqueror, a Super Conqueror, which is also kinda known for having pretty good DPM. This boy has, with a tank gun rammer, something which QB hates, 2770 DPM. Meaning you still have more and you don't even have a rammer. I personally drove this tank with HP, turbo, and V-stabs, because that way I don't lose anything, and V-stabs is a goated equipment. As a little asterisk here, the footage you can see in the background, or here, I don't know how to make my green screen, it is pre-buff reviews, or pre-buff gameplay. What does that mean? It gets a tiny buff, it gets 100 hit points more. Which is understandable as it only has 2000 hit points. It is the definition of a heavium. Really is. You will see it afterwards with the armor, where also the biggest gripe with the tank came where I had not the greatest time of it while playtesting it. The gun handling itself feels fairly comfy, especially with the stabs. Your accuracy is not too bad, 2.3 seconds aim time, 0.3 seconds accuracy. It is fine. The main benefit of this tank is that, in theory, as soon as you're getting into position, which you can get there quite easily as you have pretty decent mobility, 43 kph top speed with 16 HP per turn ratio and 15 in reverse, it's totally okay, it's totally fine. The thing is, you get into position, you had enough time to completely load your clip, which takes around 25 seconds, or 26 seconds roughly, and then you can blap the enemy in front of you for 840 damage, preferably, and then you continuously have really good DPM. So yeah, it has the first strike advantage. It is basically having the auto reload gimmick without any of the negatives, because well, let's say you only have AP loaded, which has okayish pen 263, but then you notice, darn, in front of me is an enemy which has really good armor. So what do? You're not thinking about, oh no, if I reload, then I lose my DPM. No, you just reload to APCR, which has 319mm of pen, which is not that good actually, and then you continue shooting because you didn't lose any DPM. So that is really strong, and I've noticed that this tank behaves very strong if it is uncontested due to its turret armor. So now you heard me yapping and babbling and daggling, I don't know, lots of weird noises right now about the armor. So let's have a look at the armor right now on tanks.gg and compare it to the Super Conqueror. Well, Super Conqueror's gun. as you can see on flat surface, against AP mind you, the hull is very easy to penetrate. The lower plate is very easy to penetrate. So before we go to the turret, what about side scraping? Guys, it doesn't work, trust me, I tried it and I got punished for it. Because you have this massive spot here, which as you can see is mega easy to penetrate. You have a flat spot here, which also hits the engine and the fuel tanks. Ouch! You also have this right here, which is 20 millimeters thick, meaning you can get overmatched there with the tiniest chunk in the game. So yeah, that is so the hull you have to play this hull down, this heavium hull down. Technically, can side scrape is at 60 millimeters, but you need to watch out against the FVs. What about the turret? You can already see it has the same weak spots as the Concept 1B. So up here we have a weak spot, the cupola is a weak spot, and now we continue. The neck, it's not a neck beard. It doesn't have a neck beard here, you know, it's not fat, so it gets penetrated there. This right here is fairly weakish. You can even see some green spots over here. You sometimes even have green spots over there. Surely you getting hit there is unlikely, but they do exist. And the gun mantlet is just shy of 300 millimeters thick. That is not bueno. So surely if we go into hull down, it's a little bit better, right? Because then we can hide our cupola. That is correct. Then you have a little bit harder to penetrate, but oh look, the neck is getting even weaker. And now, contrary to the Concept 1B, which also can, again, same turret as the Concept 1B technically, which can also see tier 7 tanks and tier 8 tanks, which are far less likely to actually spam you with premium rounds, and you can completely murder them, by the way. On tier 10, it's a little bit different. And that is now with APCR. And the Conqueror, or the Super Conqueror, is not really known for having insane premium rounds, you know? But that is a 100% chance to penetrate, or 98% chance to penetrate down here. What about these cheeks? What about these cheeks? Oof. What about the gun mantle itself? It's just 320 millimeters thick, meaning you have a 60% chance to shoot through. What about up here? You can still hit that. Well, let's say you try to go straight again, you know, because you're just driving normally, you know, you're driving towards them, you're going straight, and yeah, like, ouch. The gun mantlet, the whole turret is almost green. It's complete opposite to what Wargaming recently introduced with the can opener, or what even the Super Conqueror has as an armor profile. And again, that is part of the balancing of this tank, because if it would have better turret armor, what is going to happen? Oh great, we have another chieftain opportunity, or another can opener situation. And I don't mean the new chieftain, because the turret armor there is trash. I mean the OG chieftain, which was Clan Wars reward. And I don't think that Wargaming wants to repeat it. The main thing is, though, it makes this tank far more difficult to play for you as a player. Because, again, a Concept 1B, the chances are that somebody is spamming premium rounds at you in the tier 8 to tier 10 bracket, where you're most likely residing, is far less often than on the tier 9 to tier 10 bracket, where the Gryphon is sitting. Because let's be honest, a lot of people just shoot premium rounds at tier 10, because why shouldn't you? It's the top of the line. There's nothing above it. And that makes the tank, in my opinion, far less enjoyable to play and far harder to play for you. So, let's wrap it up. Maybe I'm coping here, and maybe I have a skill issue. That is a 100% valid point. I just want to inform you that if you want to invest 1 million free XP for this vehicle, that you're not getting something like the Kampfpanzer 07. Or is it called the 07? Which was also a part of the Kampfpanzerwagen 07P, which has pretty good DPM. That's a really good turret. It also lacks penetration, but its turret is actually far better than the one of the Gryphon. But the Gryphon has the gimmick of having even better DPM and the double shot auto reload, excuse me. But it's not a hull down tank per se. You definitely have to play it far more like a fat medium tank than a speedy heavy tank. And that will make it harder for you as a player. So let's take another tank. Like, for example, a can opener is that simple to play for even your average player, meaning that even your average player will have it easy to go hold down, look at the enemy, you don't get penetrated. That is very bad gameplay. Then we have the E5, which has great gun handling, it has a good turret except for the massive cupola, which is in my opinion a greatly balanced tank. Why? It allows you as a good player to abuse the fact that your cupola is off center, and it allows you as a good player playing against it to slam that cupola and know as well that, okay, if he is hiding the cupola, I potentially should not peek, you know? So this is great balancing. And then you have the Gryphon, which is an odd duckling, where on one hand it has a really potent gun, but the lack of armor on the turret and ways to hide said armor makes it incredibly lackluster to play, because basically everybody just presses the 2 key and bada bam bada boom, they have a 60% chance to shoot straight through the thing you have to look at them with. So it's just a mixed bag, and again, it's probably a skill issue, because I'm 100% sure a lot of good players will perform very well at it, especially because it has 840 burst potential followed up with 3000 DPM. But if you, let's say you have a hold down tank in front of you and he can just slam you straight through your gun mantlet, while you can only slam him for like half the time. This tank against something like a 60 TP, and the 60 TP is able to pull back to not show off its little neck or its driver's hatch. I don't know, Chief, the 60 TP is going to probably completely ruin the Gryphon's day. So yeah, please take everything I just said with a little bit of a grain of salt and make your own mind up for this tank. Maybe watch some other reviews to know what is really happening to this tank. In general, there's one more thing I want to point out, and it's a little bit the elephant in the room. As you probably know, this is yet another massive investment when it comes to monetization. 1 million free XP. Arguably, it's not that big of a problem, because chances are a lot of people which are paying for this game have a lot of free XP laying around thanks to the Raumfalte Kisten, or the Raumfalte boxes, the Booba boxes. You know, not bueno. Because the Raumfalte event was, in my personal opinion, very bad. And there now has been another outfall, let's put it that way. It is something I want to discuss in a separate video, because I want to discuss the whole monetization and Wall of Tanks itself, and this is also a very important point, because if you give constructive criticism, but while also giving points why it is good and how to potentially change it, it should be acceptable. Let's put it that way. And just so you say, I do disagree with Wargaming to completely axe IOXIM before anybody asks. I wholeheartedly disagree with this decision. It's a pity, and yeah, it's a pity. There's nothing else to say, really, in my honest opinion. I really hope that this is getting revisited, and Wargaming can rethink their decision on that regard. The point is, though, we had, in my opinion, and in the opinion of a lot of other people, a very poorly designed mechanic, which, while being industry standard, it's very poorly designed, it's very predatory, in my opinion, and others' opinions as well. And now we have another FOMO event. Luckily, we know that these tanks come back right after it. That monetization is crazy. Honestly, man. Honestly. It's crazy. So where does this leave us? Like, generally, where does this leave us? Because while on the test server we have now gun sleeves and gun trackers or kill trackers, which is amazing. That's an amazing way of monetizing the game, because it's non-intrusive, it's not mandatory, and it's something which us human monkey brains love. We want to show off, right? So that's a great way. But now it's in completely contrast to the Raumfalte boxes and another, in quotation mark, FOMO event where, oh no, you have to go fast, otherwise you don't get it. Ooh, yoo. Oh, it's just generally, and I'm getting kind of tired at every single time when I have to do a video on something new. It's literally this all over again. But again, it is something I want to really discuss in a separate topic, and it's something which I need to work on a little bit longer, because I want to showcase good, solid arguments and want to open up a discussion about this in general. with this out of the way, thank you so much for watching me ramble at the end here. I hope if you decide to take the Gryphon, you have fun with it, but again, keep in mind that these caveats exist. My name is RagingRaptor, and I'll see you around.